Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm not. I haven't been.
We are not.
No, but we better. I got to get ready. Jon Peckman Podcast, Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. We are encased in ice on this day. It's sleeting and rain outside.
A cold, lonely, dark night in Portland, Connecticut.
That's right. So when you come over the bridge and you go through the first light and you pull a U and you park in front of the music store with the red neon light that has music lessons, gear, and this beautiful podcast studio in which you could have your own podcast, you need to drive safely, is what I'm saying.
You have gotten so good at locating this building.
Oh, yeah.
Over the years of describing it.
Well, I live here.
That's true.
Remember?
True. We live here.
When you're a kid, yeah. When you think you see your teachers out in real life and you're like, what are they doing out?
Yeah. That's like in the summer, they usually sleep in a coffin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, except for me, it's a year round.
Right. If only a man could dream.
Totally. So, like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. Tell your pets. Tell your plants.
Yes.
Most importantly.
Most importantly.
Because that's an untapped demographic.
Yeah, that is true.
Is plants.
Especially Portland plants. There's a lot of those. The demographic's rising. So.
Well, you know what I hear about plants? It's a growing demographic.
True.
I don't have time to. So, sorry. Completely out of it. So, this is, I guess, the second time we're going to try this. I'm here with Don.
I'm keeping this man up late.
I'm here with Doi. No, it's not. No, actually, it's too early for me.
You're just ramping up. Yeah. But by the time we're done, you'll be ready to go.
Oh, yeah. Dan Hollenbeck.
Hello.
Teacher here at the school.
Yes.
And has been for quite some time.
This is my 10th year here,
wow.
I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm old now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe that.
Yeah. It flies by. I love this job, so it's been great.
Yeah.
It's moving by.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Teaches piano.
Yes.
And what else? Sometimes dulcimer.
Dulcimer, yes. I had a stint with dulcimer, although Jon Peckman is a dulcimer legend himself.
Yeah, sure.
I picked that up to learn. That was a lot of fun. I do drums a little bit on the side. Nice. I like to play the bass. We're both bass men.
Oh, right. That's right.
As we
Not
discussed,
a lot of people. Dan invented funk.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, slap and popping.
Yeah, forget Larry Graham.
Yeah.
I was before him.
Yeah, a lot of people.
My thumb went crazy on it, and that was that. You know, we discussed bass, vocals. I went to college for music at Central, so singing, drums, bass, strings, and stuff like that. So you get a little bit of everything.
Did you ever do all of them at the same time?
Yeah, it was. I had to take a leave of absence for a while. I had to take 3 months off. It was a nightmare. So I don't recommend it, especially not to the plants that are listening here.
Yeah, crazy.
Do you teach anything else besides drums? Do you teach dulcimer? You're really good at that.
No.
Don't let this man fool you.
No.
He's a folk legend.
No. No, I wouldn't know how to. I wouldn't know. I could probably teach dulcimer, but I wouldn't. But why? The world needs less dulcimer players, not more.
There's an uprising of dulcimer players in the local Portland senior area.
Is there really?
So you might be surprised. Yeah, you could maybe teach a couple of group classes. That could be fun.
Yeah, we tried to. Yeah, Dave mentioned that once, and I actually figured out. I devised a curriculum, and then he said, "Never mind."
Like
I was ready to go. I was like, I had it together.
Ukulele, that's for sure. Do you ever?
I never played that.
Oh, you're missing out.
I have a thing. I hate Hawaii.
Oh,
anything Hawaiian.
Is it like a fear or a hatred? Why is that? Can we dig into that?
I don't understand myself, but there's something about anything Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Shirts.
Yeah.
Punch.
Yeah.
Music.
Oh,
Hawaiian,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't do ukuleles.
How about beaches, surfing?
No.
Coconuts.
Nope.
No to all.
Lava.
Yeah.
Don't do them.
Right.
Volcanoes.
Right. Gods. Island gods and stuff like that.
Yeah. No tiki.
Wow.
No torches.
Okay, so that's going to ruin the Hawaiian surprise birthday party that I had planned for you later on.
No, it'll be a surprise. You'll be surprised.
Not good.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to listen. I've been attempting to do this. This is the second time we've done this. We're going to listen to an entire album.
Yes.
From top to bottom with no pause. So you need to talk on top.
Get the thoughts
This
out.
is the limitation because I believe that great art the limitations is part of it. And
Yeah.
this is like no pause.
That makes it exciting. Yeah. And for the audience too. You guys, I think to pause during an album kind of breaks up the actual flow of the songs anyways. So it'll be better for us to like we'll all hear it in one cohesive format as intended, I think.
Right. Exactly. So this type of episode is called Listening to an Album with Peckman. And I'm Peckman. That's me. We're going to listen to an album. And today we're going to listen to, with Dan Hollenbeck, we're going to listen to Kind of Blue by Miles Davis.
Yes.
Now here's my thing, and then you're going to take over. So I am a dilettante when it comes to jazz. I'm, I guess, probably a jazz expert or a jazz musician's worst nightmare in that I know what I like, which, isn't fair. I know what I like to hear. I've tried over the years. I do have my own particular taste in jazz, which I won't divulge because I'm always afraid that it's not cool enough or whatever.
It's probably not, in the jazz world.
No, never. But, Kind of Blue is one of those things that if you're supposed to get into jazz, that's a gateway. It would be the marijuana of jazz in a way, like they used to say,
I agree. Yeah. It's like kind of like my joke to myself is anyone who owns like a record player owns that album, whether they know it or not, but it's like the background music. I think it's so easy to listen to. You're right.
Sure.
It's not angular, this is like smooth, kind of cool jazz where it's not the hardcore stuff like bop where it's more angular, and for other musicians it's it's like the album. You're right. And Miles Davis, that's like the household name of jazz, right? John Coltrane and Miles Davis are some of the biggest. So
that's what they say. I've heard those names before.
Yeah, and both those names are on this album too, cool. So legends, jazz legends.
Yep.
One of the best jazz albums of all time, if not the best jazz album of all time.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
And as for myself, I'm a drummer, in case people don't know. So I am familiar with feel. I'm a half decent jazz drummer myself, if I may be so bold. I feel that I understand the texture and the touch and the swing.
Yeah.
But being harmonically limited as a drummer, I hear other people talk about modes and things, but I don't really. I kind of know what they are, but I'm going to pretend that I know nothing.
Yeah.
And you're going to explain, because when I look up Kind of Blue on Wikipedia, it explains that that parts of this album he was working in modes.
Right.
I don't really know what that means.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, honestly, that you can help me understand it.
Yeah.
So that's part of this.
Yeah. And I can give you like a little brief overview of what modes are. It's funny too, because, even though, yes, it's true, it's like a modal album, and I'll explain that in a little bit. I brought a keyboard here too, so we can hear some of these modes and stuff in action too. So
yep, because I wanted to understand.
Even at the end of the day, like Miles would say about like the modal stuff, like it's basically whatever you feel like, as long as you know where your home note is. So like if you're in the key of D minor or whatever, D minor, as long as you know to end on a D or like another tone, D, F, A. I don't know how many of you guys are musically inclined out here, all the plants or everything, but as long you can play any of these keys that you want, as long as you kind of know where to end in like a happy place here. A mode is just another way of saying what a scale is. Again, a scale is just an 8-note figure. So, all the white keys from C to C, that's a scale. There's all different types of scales, D to D, and there are certain sharps and flats that you have to play. But a mode is taking like any note from another note in a certain key. So if we have the C scale, it's C to C, all the white notes.
Sure.
That's called the Ionian mode, just a major scale. So there's, 7 different, unique notes. There's 7 different modes too. So you would do D to D, all white notes. It's not a full minor scale. It's a mode called the Dorian mode. We'll get into that song, So What, where they play in that mode. The big difference between the Dorian mode and the minor scale is just a B flat. So a D minor scale sounds like this. The Dorian mode only has one note of a difference, but that changes the entire tonality of a piece. And that's that part of the bass line that has a B in it. So it's just a different way of like messing with certain scales and different keys, you know. It's a very vague generalization. And what Miles Davis would do too is basically just like, these were like not rehearsed sessions. This was like done in 2 different sessions in March and April in like 1959 or whatever. Miles, like they didn't rehearse or anything. He would give these guys a piece of paper that had like 7 different notes, like a mode, and be like, all right, have fun with this, you know. So they didn't really know what they were expecting when they were going in. So it was all very loose, very feel based as well. So it's like, you know, a lot of songs, as you might know too, even as a drummer, like it goes from chord to chord like a normal song. I played 3 different chords there, a C chord, an F chord, and a G chord. So when you solo, you're going to play the C chord, F chord, and the G chord. But in this album, there's not much of that, you know. It's just more of like one chord and just go crazy, you know. As long as you end in like a tonal area. So it's a lot more free form stuff going on, but it's also very relaxed sounding. That's like the mode is what like makes us think it's like a really cool sound in general. So that's just a little bit of like an overview of what modes are. And we'll hear those as we listen to the album too. I'll kind of call out some modes that we have going on.
Far out. All right, I'm going to hit it.
Let's do it.
Are you ready? There's no turning back.
I think we actually start with So What. So this is great. I'm ready to go.
This is So What.
Very open, no real groove yet, establishing the feel.
Yeah.
Lots of chromaticism. They're kind of leaving it eclectic right now. Gonna listen to this like legendary bass line coming up. There we are. This is that D Dorian mode. Horns joining in here. This is the melody. So simple, so effective. 2 notes. Da da. You know.
Find out where it was recorded because I'm hearing the size of the room because that's how I.
Oh
listen.
yeah, I know it's in New York where they were, but.
30th Street, Columbia, the big room.
Perfect.
Big
Yep.
room.
2 notes.
So this is like the head.
That's it.
You're
Yep.
playing.
A form. D Dorian, E flat Dorian, D Dorian. And here we go. Miles Davis. How simple this solo is.
So they're in the key of D, but they're staying in the mode, in Dorian mode. Is that correct?
Exactly. A piano player, we're looking at all the white keys only. Here's E flat Dorian. They just move up to this B section. E flat Dorian for a little bit. Just so minimal. Back to D here. And that's the whole form. There's only 2 chords in this song, D and E flat.
What notes would they not be playing if they're in that mode? What would it be? What would it sound like to go out of that mode?
All it would be doing is like what we call like passing tones. So, you know, again, like I said, like the piano player's doing a lot of white keys, which is fine. But then you could like do some passing tones that are like black keys. I don't know if I could like, if I should play over like stuff like that, where like those, there's not really like a wrong area as long as you're ending back up in this like Dorian mode, you know. It's all just like passing harmony, you know. Just E flat again. So that's what you want to keep in mind, like listening to this whole thing is like Miles Davis, like I said, it's just like make sure you know where your home is and have fun, like go out besides that, you know. You're literally going up and down these like 5 notes. That's what he just played there. D, E, F, A. Very simple but powerful.
So it's more limiting in a certain sense, or no?
The point is that it's not limiting because you're just kind of following one chord. It seems like it's limiting, I think, on its surface, but it's supposed to be freeing too, you know? Like you do have a framework, but you're allowed to kind of go out of it too, you know?
Because the chords aren't moving.
Right, exactly. It's just one chord over all of this. So rather than like, okay, D chord is for 4 measures, and it's a G chord for 4 measures, and it's an A chord. No, it's just a D chord. So your framework, like I said, is that D Dorian, but you're allowed to, move out of it to a certain extent. Like here, the saxophone solo here is a little bit more eclectic. It's a little bit more out. Like Miles' solo was way more subdued. This is like the vision that he was going for.
So it's not a blues, which probably something will be later, like a 12-bar form where you're on the 1 chord,
right,
4 chord, 5 chord.
Well said. Yeah, exactly. We have like a standard blues. I think it's the next song coming up. So you'll see how they treat that song versus how they treat this. Like this is a new style that Miles is trying out, modal jazz. This is kind of like breaking new ground.
Okay.
A lot of like Miles' albums were more of like trying new things, and he gets like further and further out as he gets older. But he was doing a lot more of the standard jazz that, is like more old school back in the day. Now, like in the late 50s, this is like a new thing that he like brings all these like legends like John Coltrane, Bill Evans, stuff like that to try,
What was he doing before this? Do you know?
This was like, he had like the quintet and sextet that he was working with at the time. Those were like more of like the jazz standards, and like bop as well.
So lots of chord changes. So chord changes.
Yeah, exactly. Chord, all over the place.
Yeah.
Very much more like demanding in terms of like reading the sheet music and stuff like that and following the chords, right? So you have a lot more, to me, like that's a lot more limitation, like a bebop has a lot more chords in it and stuff like that, or like more angular and stuff like that too.
So when you're playing in a chord, there are definitely some notes that you shouldn't play unless you're going out and you're going out.
Right. Those are things that like, to me, like I said, they're more limiting. You're in this chord for, 2 beats, and then you're in the next chord for 2 beats, and then that's it. You have to keep moving. This you have all the time in the world. You're on D for like 5 minutes until you go to E flat. So you have all this room to do what you want to and paint a better picture, He didn't want you to like be caught in the confines of like the crazier jazz standards,
Is it a testament to these players that they have that many ideas on a single chord? Is that kind of is that what makes it challenging, or what would a lesser player, would they run out of ideas quicker? Is that the thing?
That's perfectly said, right? Like, and I think you approach it, there's almost like an axis of difficulty where it's like, as a beginner, at first it's almost like, oh, D, that's easy. I'll just play D minor all day. And then you start to get more advanced. Like, wait, I have to really let these ideas breathe, and I have to develop the ideas, Like listening to Miles Davis' solo in the beginning, you see how he slowly develops an idea and doesn't overplay a lot. He's like very tasteful in how he develops a solo over time. So you have all this time and breathing room to, make it your own. And that would like all these players that Miles is playing with are some of the best jazz players known at the time. So he picked some of the best to play this stuff. Oh, I think now piano's coming in now too. Yeah, all these players treat it with such style. This is Bill Evans, who's my favorite piano player of all time, by the way. It's my hero, basically. So let me breathe a little bit, but you have to have such a like lexicon of knowledge to be able to play all these different ideas over just one chord, like you say,
And he just kind of sprung it on him.
Yeah, like I said, barely in a rehearsal, it wasn't expected. Versus back in the day, right, where like you want to like save money and you want to be able to have these ideas ready to go. So the chords are all written out, your solos are kind of they're ready to go as well. Miles gave all these guys just a piece of paper on the day, and took a couple takes. But one of the songs, I think the last song we listened to, it was the first take that they used. And they released it that way. It was as raw as it could be as well. You could hear like, again, this style playing on the piano here, it's like a little bit like dissonant for a little bit, and they're already kind of wrapping it up now, but you hear some of those using some of those like half steps and stuff like that too. And here we are, head out, done. Horns come back in here. Because the head is so easy. All these like the newbie jazz players are always able to play this. It's just soloing like a master. Easy to learn, difficult to master. E flat.
Is that a key change?
Yeah, technically it's a key change.
In a way,
you know,
a way to think about it.
Whether you want to call it a B section or a key change, it's the melody transposed up a half step.
Okay.
Back to D here.
And when they're soloing, they're following that same form.
Perfect. A, B, A.
Okay.
That's always kind of funny because like people get lost in the amount of D chords that you need because it's, you know, whatever, 8 bars of D, 8 bars of D, 4 bars of E flat, 8 bars of D. So it's easy to get lost in how many times you're doing the D chord. That's all. That will trip up, you know, the newbies.
Sure.
And we phase out here. Yeah.
Wow. Classic.
Here's the next one. This is Freddie Freeloader. This is the blues.
Okay.
So there's a B flat, E flat, 4 chord, right? You know, B flat. Here's the 5 chord. Cool turnaround. This is the 7. A flat. You hear that? That's unique.
Okay.
We're back already.
Is this I'm sorry, did he write this or this is a song that was around?
Yep. I could talk about that stuff too. Miles wrote basically all of these. It is contended. It's talked about if Bill Evans wrote some of these or if it's a conjoined effort.
But this isn't a standard.
This is like a blues standard. It is now, but it is now. Yeah, back in the day, this is a new Miles tune, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like in bebop, they would take old Tin Pan Alley
show tunes, stuff like that, right? Exactly, and reharmonize. These are all original tunes that are brand new, basically.
You know who Freddie is? Who's Freddie?
Freddie is just like a hoodlum, basically. This is written about, it's like some, you know, drug slinging gangster.
Are there lyrics somewhere?
No, there's no lyrics, but I heard a version of this song that was done by an a cappella team, and you hear the solo. All these a cappella people learned these solos note for note and sang lyrics to them.
Oh, that's funny.
I wish I could dig that up. If I can, maybe in post I'll get that version. So they're singing about like Freddie Freeloader and like all of his you know, misdeeds or whatever.
Yeah.
This is the only song on this album that is not Bill Evans. This is Wynton Kelly.
Oh, okay.
Miles wanted Bill Evans to do all the modal stuff. Since this is a blues, he took Wynton Kelly, who's like a blues genius.
Oh, okay.
So this is a different style of solo that you'll hear too.
I got you. Okay, that's interesting.
As a drummer, I wonder if you get bored by some of this stuff here. There are certain like eclecticisms that you can like kind of do, but overall it's very like kind of like straightforward swing, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean it's straightforward.
Just like meat and potatoes a little bit.
Kinda. Yeah. I guess
like a little bit there, right, with the snare, right? Like that's all you get, kind of.
That's all right. I don't mind.
Miles, of course. I love those like comping things. And this is like Miles Davis is like the epitome of cool. Just listen to that tone, you know? Just laid back. This is like the perfect like dining music. You know, that's why so many people have this album casually, I feel.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, you know, as a neophyte or whatever, I don't. Again, I don't want to be ignorant and say, well, you know, I know what I like, and you know, it sounds nice, and so therefore they live. You know, if I don't understand it, they need to die. I don't understand, but I can imagine. Because at least to me, because I guess I listen differently because I don't know harmonically always what's going on, but I hear the space in it and how wide open it sounds.
Good. I think that's like one of the biggest lessons that we take. Like when I was in college, we listened to the So What solo just to study like how you provide space.
Okay.
I think a lot of like newcomers who are soloists need to feel like they need to fill the space with information. It's not always the case.
So these guys have been all around that. They've been around that loop, and this is like a reaction.
Yeah, like I said, like and that's all the like when you progress through jazz music, it's usually like an antithesis to whatever was before it. So we were talking about this just a little bit ago, but like this is the counter to like all those busy standards that were moving so fast, and it was about performative stuff. You know, it used to be about like music for musicians where it was difficult to play.
Right.
This is music for the people, you know, and. Also, you know, there's like a expression here that's different for jazz musicians too, but you know, this is supposed to be, you know, laid back, not a race or anything, you know.
And it was time for that.
Yeah, I think so. You know, like I said, you know, it was late nights playing
who's who?
crazily.
Which one's this?
This is Cannonball Adderley playing. Yeah, it was him and John Coltrane.
So he's on alt. That's alto.
Yes. Yep. It'd be lower if it was tenor, right?
Coltrane plays tenor. Is that correct?
Yep. Okay. You'll hear him on Blue and Green.
Okay.
He has a great solo there too. See, so not always like relaxed too. So here's a busier solo as well. Yeah. So you get like the stylistic differences here too. This
I wonder if it's because well, I would have no idea. But because this is the blues, maybe they're like you say, they're more comfortable because you can kind of play a bunch of riffs and you know the chord change is coming.
These guys have a bank of these riffs that, you know, these guys have been playing the blues for decades, and like I said too, these guys are masters. These guys have like been everywhere. They've played at the top of the level of jazz that there is already. So it's like, yeah, this is like breathing for him.
What was all right? I think I already asked this. So, what Miles was doing right before this?
Yep. Like I said,
what else was going on? Was this? Had people played in modes before? Like how revolutionary?
This is very new.
It was.
Yeah, Miles.
Were there people that were like, no? There must have been.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
That's a good question. I would say no because of how well the album was received. I think everyone wanted to hop on the train after this was done. I think this was a trendsetter, if I had to say.
Okay.
I don't think this ever had any bad press. I think this was like...
Okay.
And,
so everybody was kind of ready. Ready for this.
And like I said, it's like, you know, Miles is on this, Coltrane's on this. So everyone's heroes, right?
Gotcha.
So Miles had an album before this called Milestones. Okay. And that was received well too. So there was the title track on that album called Milestones. That was modal in nature.
Oh.
I think people liked that. And Miles said he was so happy with it. He wanted to do a whole album based on these songs. So while we have a blues and stuff, this is a lot of modal, like, you know, experimentation.
Was there what else was going on? Contemporaries of his. Was he always at the front? Kind of?
Yeah.
In a way?
Like, yeah, because he was like really successful before this as well, like as a sideman, you know. He came out with those 4 albums, and I'll look those up really quick too, that were like more of the standard jazz. That's like in the old school world. Yeah. It's like the working.
Oh, steaming and working, relaxing.
Those 4. Yeah. And that was before this by a couple years. So he was already really successful from that.
Okay. Where's I stumbled on through it just another conduit. I stumbled on Miles Ahead, and I like that record.
Oh,
it's like orchestrated.
I remember that. Yeah, I wonder if that was later.
Gil Evans thing.
Yes, yeah.
I think
people like Charlie Parker and Bill Evans worked with him too. Okay. And did like that was a cool thing for a while, and I wonder what year that is. Maybe I'll look that up too. But that's when like they take these standards and like orchestrate them. That was really beautiful. I love that stuff.
So, according to the chronology according to Wikipedia, which knows everything. It's like my wife.
Or
it's
Overlord.
Never wrong.
Yeah.
Never. So
weird how that is.
Miles Davis and the Modern Jazz Giants, Porgy and Bess.
Oh, so if it was Porgy and Bess, maybe that was before this. I wonder what year it says.
I'm going backwards.
Okay, gotcha.
So, Porgy Milestones. Yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
Back there.
That was like the inspiration.
And then something in French, which I don't know.
But you see,
and then
like
relaxing.
He had a big body of work. That's it.
Then we see all the. Okay.
If you see everything he's like been acclaimed to already here.
So Miles Ahead is earlier.
Right. Okay. Yep. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. Adding like a lot of class to it. Like Charlie Parker did that too. Like I said. Again, look how like much space there is at this point. Just comping. No horns right now.
It's like a chord solo too. He's not.
Yeah, a little bit. Like there's a couple flourishes, right? And here's the head out again, but it's so simple. 2 notes, a lot like so what. I love those like where the drummer puts the rim shots here.
Oh yeah.
I was asking you a little bit about like Jimmy Cobb. I think like the big drummer, if you like have like a name for jazz drummers, is Philly Joe Jones.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with?
Not overly.
Okay. Have you taken any like? Did you have any like jazz drummer idols that you saw or anything, or didn't take from the world?
No, I mean it's not my world. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I would stumble on things. I liked, for whatever reason, I heard Oscar Peterson records, and I liked whoever that drummer was. I'm really into Duke Ellington, and I love Sam Woodyard, but that's swing, That's
exactly. Yeah, that's like way earlier, big band stuff, you know. And Oscar Peterson was a giant, of course, but all that stuff that was very straight ahead. I think this is Blue and Green.
Okay.
First ballad.
Yeah.
Yeah, the classic muted trumpet sound Miles Davis gives to.
That's his thing. So it's a ballad.
Yeah. Bill Evans again on keys. The story here is, this is contentious of who actually wrote this song. The story I've heard in college is that Miles went up to Bill Evans with the first two chords, which is a G minor and an A dominant 7, and he said, do something with this. So in my mind, because I'm a Bill Evans freak, is that Bill Evans wrote the rest of the tune. Any Bill Evans fan hears these voicings and knows what's up.
Yeah, no. Yeah, everything that I'm looking at Wikipedia.
Getting fact checked
because
by
I
Wikipedia.
would love to prove you wrong in some kind of way.
You will.
That's my
you
nature,
will find a chance.
But I can't because everything that you just said.
That's the beauty of this like era where there's a lot of stories that could be debatably true or untrue. And by the time they asked Miles about this, I think he was so out of his mind.
Davis Estate acknowledged Evans's authorship in 2002.
Cool. Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, it's there's well, I'll talk about the next one that he does too. Like Flamenco Sketches is the last song that they think that maybe he did too, and I think they credit him even more with that one. So Bill Evans solo.
That's what they say. Yeah, that's what this says. This says all of that.
Thank God. See, okay, now I've built some credibility, so I can lie.
Right. Now you can just start making stuff up. So this is. I mean, this sounds like chords.
Yeah.
Like this is a song.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a blues.
Right.
And it's not modal. Is that correct? Or
this one too, he had like the framework of like a mode, but it's more chords too. I'd say it's like a kind of a marriage. Like, you could call this like a G minor, like G Dorian kind of a mode. But you can also really mess with this song. There's way more chords like you hear too. You know, because it's a ballad, it has like a lot more room to breathe like this. But no, it's not like what it was for So What. So What was like the standard.
And that's
like
the opening
playing.
track. So
exactly.
It's like...
And Flamenco Sketches is the last track, and that's even more modal. This is probably follows more of the rules of like the chords change in a way where it's hard to stay in one mode, you know? And you'll kind of hear like how the chords move and how the soloists move through.
But it's not a two chords like So What, and it's not a blues, so we're into a different thing.
Right, exactly. But at the same time, it's supposed to be simple, you know. Bill Evans comes in. They almost like kind of get the double time feel here. The bass starts to do the and 4 and 1 and 2. Even though the chords are moving at the same harmonic progression, the rhythm, they're trying to trick you to think it's twice as fast.
Sure.
And all the stuff Bill Evans is doing is just so, all these like passing chords, it's so genius.
So what is it about him? If you could, it's probably impossible to explain, but why?
I know. That's one of those things, right? It is tough to describe. Everyone always talks about how the voicings of Bill are so open. They're not like contentious or anything. He does these really like cool sounding chords that aren't too angular or anything. It's a really a big feeling thing. He's just a huge like modern influence on a lot of pianists. People like his chords are brilliant, and it's again, like I said, tough to describe like what makes them so genius. He was a classical savant too, so his understanding of chords is beyond, you know, it's anything that I could, you know, pretend like I knew about. But he has like really like sweet singular note ideas too for his solos. He doesn't overcomplicate. Like you mentioned Oscar Peterson before, who plays very fast, very bombastic, you know.
Yeah.
Like overwhelmingly virtuosic, but Bill Evans kind of slows it down with some of those single note ideas.
I see.
It's, I think, easier for a layman to pick up on, you know, but it's so hard to, again, easy to approach, very difficult to master.
Because it's a sensibility rather than an execution.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
That's well said. You know,
Kinda.
Yeah. There's like a great documentary that people could ever check out. It's on YouTube called The Universal Mind of Bill Evans, where he breaks down his mentality of music.
Okay.
Basically, you know, you say you master everything in all 12 keys. Oh, Bill Evans feature. I just have to let this breathe for a little bit. Everyone else drops out. He's playing the entire head himself here. Yeah. Space, right? The bow. And there you go.
That's
right?
it?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah.
But sorry. Yeah, but that's what you just heard there with Bill Evans is like that feeling that is so hard to capture.
Yeah. Style.
Yep, exactly. This is like, the next song is all blues.
Sure.
This
Even I know this one.
excellent. This is another one where it's like a lot of the jazz newcomers will approach this one. It is a
You know,
blues.
it's funny because I've played this song plenty of times, and I've played So What plenty of times, and every time you say any jazz beginner, I take it personally because I'm like, oh, I know that one. And
I was there
like,
too. I was there too. Freshman in college, you know.
Yeah.
And that's all the piano's doing in the beginning there too. G.A. This is G Mixolydian.
Okay, tell
all
me
white keys again.
What does that mean?
That is G to G. It's not a G major scale where the F sharp is there. They take out the F sharp. Very bluesy sounding by making it a mode instead of a normal scale. There's your framework over the whole song.
Huh.
Here's the melody. Muted trumpet again, classic Miles sound.
6/8
Nice.
or
Right.
3 or whatever, however you want.
Here's the 4 chord, C. Piano doesn't do anything different, still keeping that mode of G established. Here's the turnaround. E flat. Sharp 5. 5, 1. And there's the head for you. And they start to kind of act right here.
So someone's probably going to solo here.
Yep. I love that. Here we go, right? Drummer loosens up to the ride again, letting it cook, letting it breathe, all the space that you want. And again, Miles, the space he gives this solo. Long notes that just... I always felt like, you know, it's like a black and white detective movie. You're out there on the street in New York, it's raining, you know.
Sure.
Very easy G mode, you know, G Mixolydian ideas. Piano just going up and down. So he goes out a little bit,
Sure.
ends in that G area. It's kind of like what that jazz, like the credo is of like the tension and release, always going out to those weird spots and then ending in those spots that feel right again. Those, like, I feel like as a drummer you'd appreciate where some of those stabs are on the piano too. You know? Very syncopated.
Yeah, sure.
It's also like when you hear Miles have like a long note, like Bill Evans fills it in with some of those like little pianoisms.
Yeah.
So this is like a masterclass of listening to each other as a group too, right? Like this is all unrehearsed. This is all on the fly.
Right. So he's kind of answering or finishing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just the tiniest little flourishes from the drummer too. Those little snare rolls.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, this is the most that you hear the drummer playing.
Yeah, it's like, stay in your seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't get to express himself that much, it feels like, but I could be very wrong there.
No, but that's okay, but this.
Yeah.
Because there's the...
So here we go, starting to cook a little bit more.
The 16th note triplets available, so...
Yeah, but it's very tasteful. It's all so tasteful.
Yeah. So he can...
I think this is Cannonball again. And again, you can already hear the solo stylistic differences. Miles, again, very prolonged. This is way more notey. Not in a bad way, but... And since it's a blues, you can kind of treat it like one a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the most impressive drum thing ever in this album so far.
Trying to listen to that ride cymbal.
Oh. Snares starting to pipe up a little bit.
Yeah. Still going.
And it's just a piano holding it down. Yeah, that's the point of it too, right? Like, you have this whole framework that's so easy, and Miles wants you to be able to speak your whole piece. It's like they tell a story with these solos.
I gotcha.
I always love that like half step they do with the E flat and the D. And they just do those ideas and transpose them up a half step. And going back to the G there. It's fun to play with those little tonalities. It's back to something simple now. Half step. Half step down.
See if he's out.
Isn't that interesting that you knew,
Yeah.
That's how well I think these solos are structured, right?
Yeah, sure.
So you're a savant. You're not a... It really is like, if it sounds good, like, I know you were joking about it earlier, but it's like, if it sounds good, let them live. Like, it truly is like, it should feel good, It really is that simple sometimes.
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I can follow the form, so something's about to happen.
So I'm pretty sure this would be Coltrane, because the sax tone is lower, so it sounds like a tenor. And you can hear Coltrane. They would always say, like, he plays pages of music. He's even notier than Cannonball, I wonder if Coltrane had done the Giant Steps album yet, which is one of the most like angular, most difficult songs.
Yeah, find out.
Yeah. That's a really cool over the bar rhythm thing he did there. It says 1960, if that's true. He hasn't done Giant Steps yet.
Huh.
But he's played with Thelonious Monk, I think, at this point. He's played everywhere. He's one of the most well-respected saxophone players of all time at this point.
So there's a certain amount of people that are just tuning in because of him.
Yeah, exactly. And Miles, too, yeah. And Coltrane, I think, was more known to get out. Like, if Cannonball Adderley kind of followed the standard steps, like more straightforward jazz, John Coltrane is more eclectic. He was, Thelonious Monk is one of those musicians that was very out and, like, loved bop, which is more of, like, a non-traditional style of jazz. Bop was more for musicians, music for musicians, I should say. So
yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, Coltrane was all about that. Played with get Wikipedia ready.
Well, no.
But Coltrane was like playing all this like eclectic stuff, and then later he came out with the Ascension album, where like that was like when he had taken acid and just did an album, in one long take. So he had those like more out there ideas. We're already subduing it back for the melody for the head out again. So yeah. Oh, some piano, I think. Oh, such a cool, simple statement of an idea there for that solo. But so Cannonball and Coltrane had different styles is all I was getting at there. All those chord triplet ideas, the hemiola stuff.
Yeah.
The duple meter.
Yep.
Da. Let's see. There we go.
Back to the head.
Right, and easy enough. Like you can follow that as a listener. Again, even if you've like never heard jazz, it kind of you sense that it's done.
Sure.
Back to the modal GA stuff.
So dig this. I don't know. Somebody told me, I don't know who, but they were like, "Oh, you would like Monk. You should listen to Monk."
Nice.
So I have one album. I bought an album called Monk's Dream, and in spite of what you're saying harmonically, I immediately dug the way they swing. Like I felt like I heard it before. I was like, oh, I don't know from knowledge. I just try to figure it out, but I don't know if this is correct or not, but there's a sense of humor to his playing, to that drummer's playing that I love, and I've listened to that album a lot just because I love the way they play.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, sometimes the way they play around, they always know where the center of the groove is, but they'll slosh around that pulse in a way that I don't know if I just tuned into it because it's kind of rock and roll or something, but there's an attitude, there's something about it that I was like, oh, I totally get this rhythmically.
Yeah.
Because when you say bop, I think of crazy, a lot of notes.
Yep.
And at least this Monk album I have sounds fairly minimal.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
I've heard stuff that was too quick and crazy for me to follow.
Oh, yeah.
And this particular Monk album, I'm like, okay, I can follow this.
Good. Yeah. That's so well said for so many good things that I could comment on. Like Monk, and I think this is starting the final song, I think, too, Flamenco Sketches coming up. But Monk, I mean, he did other things before bop, too. He was a prominent figure for like the earlier part of like the 50s and stuff like that, too, where he was like, he would do the straight ahead standards and blueses and stuff, too, but then he also surpassed that, got to bop. So, and bop can be a lot of fast notes, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Some of his stuff that's like not on that album in particular.
But he's considered bop, more bop, Thelonious Monk.
Yeah. He's one of the faces of bop for sure.
Okay.
Because I think it's just like when he released some of his like most important hits and stuff like that.
So where was he during this time, 59?
Oh, I'm sure he was doing his thing because he played with Coltrane too, and they would do like blueses and stuff together too. So I'm sure he was like playing still at this time, but like you said, like with the sense of humor and like the rock and roll style, it's so well said.
But all
like,
eyes weren't on him like they were on Miles at that point.
Monk was like an acquired taste. Like if Miles was like level 1 approach, Monk is like, okay, take a couple more steps. And like Bill Evans too, he's like the face of this cool jazz style. Monk, if you heard some of his solos, I don't know if they're always that way on Monk's Dream, but like he would do some crazy eclectic stuff where like he's just doing silly things and like hitting the keys and stuff. But if you watch some videos of Monk playing in like his prime, he like will play a couple notes, he'll get up and he'll spin around out of his chair, and he'll like have a sandwich or whatever. That's how performative it was. It was almost like the rock and roll of jazz, where it's like the counterculture of the straight ahead big band swing, where it's very subdued, very controlled. This is like out there. Even if it's just a blues, like he wrote blueses, but his solos were crazy over them.
So he was considered kind of crazy.
Yeah, very silly, humorous. Fun loving, but he also could play like a savant too. He practiced so much, and he would do these beautiful licks and had beautiful ballads, but he had that time period where he was just like really fun and different to watch.
You want to talk about this before this song? You have anything?
Yeah. Well, again, so this one apparently, like I said, keep this in mind as you listen to this. This was apparently take one and just released. So this is just the first thing that ever happened.
Wow.
I think I'm not sure what modes these are, and we can look them up if we can find them. But this is the one where I guess Miles had like 5 different modes that he gave to the people in this recording, and was like, play through all 5, and whenever you feel like you're done, come back to the first mode, and then we'll kind of wrap up your solo from there. So he had like 5, he just gave, some modes, like 1 mode per song, but this one he had 5 different layers. So this is the most complicated song in that way.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure what the modes are, but this is one of those ones where like almost every song in this album is easy to find in the real book, or like I said, all the novices, start with these songs. This is the only one that's not like that. This one's a little bit more advanced.
Okay.
So,
well, how do they know they're going from one mode to the other?
I think it's literally done by
form?
There is a form, but I think it's more free form, where like the musicians are listening to each other and the soloist is kind of leading the way. Okay. Kind of hear how the chords evolve over time. But this is the other, like, we started with So What, and this is the other side of the modal, where this is very much more free form. You can hear how much more like ballad like it is. But Blue and Green had more of a structure. This is more like, all right, solo as you see fit. This is all about you. Find home, and we'll go from there.
So, is this pointing? Do you think that is Miles or whoever the A&R person? Do you think is he thinking conceptually, like, is this? Because this is like in rock and roll or rock music that comes later. Not that it's a concept album, but that the last track is pointing you in the next direction.
I think that's
do you think what comes after this for Miles? Is this a signpost, or is it just whatever?
No, I think this is what was supposed to be a new trend of like a style.
The way you put the album together is like you start with something modal, and then there's a blues, and then there's a ballad, and then there's another blues, I guess, and then this is...
Yeah. But although, they mess with like all blues, like they have Freddie Freeloader, which is a standard blues, have fun with it. It's what you normally listen to. Then all blues is kind of the more of like a step in the next, here's where blues should be headed towards. I think he wanted modal jazz to be like the next like big thing, basically.
Did it? Was it?
Yeah, I mean, for this album to be one of the most like legendary albums of all time,
Who responded to this? Was there another artist that took this baton?
I think a lot of it's like in general, I think a lot of people took this wave and like adapted these songs to different things with them. But I think the next thing that would go after this is more of like a free form jazz. Like it's like, the Headhunters come a little bit later after this and stuff, where it becomes way more just like actually free jazz, where there's not even like a mode anymore. So I think it starts to evolve to a certain freedom where it gets more and more and more free. Then it's like almost too free. That's like very advanced listening, where it's,
is there how long did this influence last? Like if he established that this is, modal jazz, how long did this, or does jazz move so fast that it's just like, okay, we got it, and someone else is like, hey fellas, how about this?
I would argue the influence is forever. I think people have taken this solo style and have ran with it even till today.
Okay, so it's not always one supersedes the other. It's all...
Right. I think it's like a product of something that's greater and greater and greater. Although there's different styles and stuff like that too. There are people that like will always love like old swing, or some people will only want to play bop. But I think this is one of the most popular styles that have survived today.
Oh, okay.
Like this kind of trumpet playing and this kind of piano playing is like more indicative of like our modern style than anything. There's a contemporary style too that's very out as well, but I think this is one of the most like standard.
So it sounds less dated.
Yeah, exactly.
Of its time.
I think people try to copy this style of jazz almost more than any other style.
Oh wow.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah.
There are people that would argue with that. There are some crazy people out there in New York that are always at the clubs and trying to, move beyond this. But I think this is like the most easy to understand style, and then you can do so much with it.
Where did Miles go after this?
He kept like this style for a little bit. Like I said, I think way later after this is like when he starts to do like stuff with like Herbie Hancock, and he does like his Time After Time stuff and gets a little bit more dissonant for me.
Yeah.
I think you start to like, push the freedom after this, John Coltrane too, like I said, does the Ascension stuff.
Okay.
These guys all
so
get
this
a
is like
older.
the fine line. It's like you're right up to the edge.
Yeah, until it gets to like, it's like, 60s, like I think especially more like the 70s and the 80s, it gets like the final evolution of,
Sure.
the big cats in jazz. Again, like Charlie Parker, Miles Davis, Bill Evans, Coltrane, stuff like that are like going to their final stages of development. Like, where do we go now? Where do we go now? I think like jazz hit so many of those waves over those decades, even from like the 20s, 30s on. Like the 50s was like a huge melting pot of like all these ideas. But I think it starts to like kind of wear more to like a final evolution, like Miles's final days, where he's using the distortion pedal, if you've seen him play later in his life and stuff like that.
Sure.
Really experimental.
Huh.
So, but this is kind of like, almost like a dividing point, or like where this becomes like one of the most recognized albums of all time, just for the sound.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I have another. You're just being whatever I am. The way I arrive at things is I started getting into vinyl over the last handful of years because I inherited a 1958 era stereo, and I started to tune into records of that vintage because they were hi-fi. They were supposed to show off your stereo, your hi-fi. And this is an audiophile record.
Oh.
Because see, what happens with me is I'll listen to anything from that late 50s, early 60s wedge because everybody was trying to see how well they could record.
Yeah.
So jokes aside, I have a vast collection of Hawaiian music because during that period, they're trying to make the best stereo recording with the most layers of depth. They'll have a 12-voice Hawaiian choir against an orchestra because they're trying to show off their stereo. And this record, is that it? I just talk over the whole flicker thing? But this is a record that audiophiles, that's how I arrived at it.
Yeah.
Because the way that I've heard it is that apart from all of that, it was, I don't know if it was one of the first, but it's one of the best sounding.
Yeah.
Which is another layer. That's how I arrived at it.
Interesting. Okay, so even just as a pure listener, you're very attuned to like the actual audio quality.
It just happened over the years, but like I say, it's a curse because like if I listen to something from that vintage, like I did with this, the first thing I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out what room how far away are the mics? What are the mics? That's how I hear the stuff.
Yeah,
I
hearing you talk
listen
about that's fascinating.
Like I said, I didn't even, I might have known, but I forgot. But right away, I heard the size of the room, and I was like, I don't think this is Van Gelder.
Yeah.
Because his room isn't this big. And then I look it up, and it's Columbia.
Yeah.
It's the big room. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's why there's all this space in it. Yeah. You wonder if that space lends it a certain elegance.
Yeah.
That happens to coincide with the elegance of the maybe that's another reason why this album endures.
Theming is perfect. I agree. Yeah, I mean the space of the room, which adds to the audio, and how the solo bounces off the halls and stuff too, right? Yeah. Like versus the space that they give in the solos too. So that's so great to hear your take on it because I don't ever think about stuff like that, even though it's so interesting. I'm always thinking about what's going on chordally, harmonically.
Like I'm the opposite. I'll listen to absolute crap as long as it sounds good.
Yeah, you're listening to Hawaiian stuff. That's awful.
Which actually a lot. I've learned a lot of it is really beautiful. It's great. It's great
there
stuff.
You go. Okay.
But you got to know what your RCA living stereo because I know what room that is. It depends on.
As you were talking about stuff with the Beatles at length too, I remember hearing you talk about like even like
that's
kind
how
of
it started.
Exactly, and I'm sure there's so much to study there. Well, people dig into that so deeply.
When you, we don't have to talk about this anymore. But when, if it started with me being a half-assed Beatles recording scholar because. I mean, they recorded so there's 3 studios in Abbey Road, 3 rooms, and they did most of their work in Studio 2. And throughout their career, they are up in every corner. Sometimes for 3 albums, the drums are over here, and then they're over here, and then they try them here, and then the piano's over. Right. So you get to hear the dimensions of that room. If you listen to the whole thing and know how to hear it, you can understand every dimension of that room.
Yeah, that was like a part of the era too, right? Where they like spent so much time in the studio, like they became basically studio musicians. So they had all this time and resources.
So they got bored and they were just like, let's try it over here.
Yeah, do this piano chord this way and stuff like that. Trying everything. But yeah, even just to quickly check on it too, it was like miles after this, it was Sketches of Spain, Someday My Prince Will Come, and then Seven Steps to Heaven. So it gets back to more of the standard stuff. But yeah, the next two albums after that were also modally based, you know. So and then ESP, Miles Smiles.
So should I listen to Sketches of Spain? What should I do?
Yeah. Listen to that. I wonder how far you would go until you're like either sick of it or if it's like a different style than what you're used to.
Well, I mean, I'll take the trip. I'll try it.
There are so many avenues of Miles where you could dive in and just see if it's for you or not. Like I said, like Bitches Brew, and then the albums after that get a little bit more experimental. So that's when it's like, okay, if you think you love jazz, then try those albums. They're a little bit heavier listening and go from there.
Well, that's like for me, and then we can get out of here. But because I always end up. Every conversation ends up for me being about King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Oh, of course,
because they have 28 albums, right? and they're all a different. They have a handful. Yeah,
you showed them to me. They're awesome.
So there's people that have spreadsheets that go, if you like this, start here, and then go from here to this one.
Yeah.
So that you can understand the different. Of course, I just went chronologically through the whole thing and then made up my own mind. But yeah,
that's such a cool way to do it. Or like for me, I would see who else is on the track. Like if you like Miles, and try Coltrane and the Giant Steps albums the year later. So that's important. And Bill Evans and stuff too. They all were not only sidemen to each other, but they would just like do their own albums and stuff as well.
Where should I start with Bill Evans so I can understand?
Because
I heard. Let me just.
Okay.
So another one of my other avenues. Is I years and years ago I was pretty heavily into DJ culture, like club DJ, and they would have these after hours comps where the DJ's getting deep into and then it just basically becomes music, like it's not dance music anymore, and there was somebody. And so they're kind of like mellow after hours mixes, and they get kind of jazzy.
Yeah.
And there was one song at the end of a mix that somebody dropped that was a solo piano piece that I loved, and it was Bill Evans, and it was called Peace.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's this? And then I was like, oh, this is that guy.
I was going to even point that out in the beginning of Flamenco Sketches. He uses that riff, bum bum. He uses that thing at the beginning of Peace.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. People sample him all the time. Hip hop samples use him and everything too.
So that's what I'm saying. I arrived at it from that world.
Yeah.
And just said, oh, I like this guy.
Yeah. His style is so consistent. You could almost start anywhere, but Portraits in Jazz is a really good one. And Waltz for Debbie. 1959, 1958, 1960. That's a great, like for this style, like I said, because it's so, everyone kind of ran with it, the modality of it. So.
I'm going to check out Bill Evans next.
Yeah. Because absolute favorite. If anyone walks away with anything from this show, it's check out Bill Evans and Coltrane, Miles. They're all.
I was listening to and I thought it was my imagination. You do that thing where I was listening to that Bill Evans, that Peace, which I just love it. Incredible. I love the sound of it. Yeah. And I was half falling asleep.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was like, is he playing bird calls?
Yeah.
Like he does this thing.
He ends up doing
and I'm like, it sounds like almost sounds like he's doing a bird call.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
That might actually be a part of what he does too. But he also does some like out of, does some dissonant stuff on purpose
it was
too.
Bizarre.
Yeah. I didn't, all these solos tell a story. If you like really critically listen to these things, it's incredible stuff.
Yeah.
But they all played with each other. So you're bound to find a ton of good stuff, especially in this set of years we're talking about.
Yeah. All right. Well, that might be, I might get into that next.
Yeah. I'll check out some Gizzard.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. That's a whole other, got to get someone for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we should get out of here. Probably talked over all the best parts of the album, but that's what we're doing. I mean, that's what this is.
If anything peeked out to any of you guys, listen to it on your own. I highly recommend it. And it's so short. What was that, like 40 minutes or something? This album is not long.
Yeah,
so
not long.
There's reissues where they have longer stuff and they have live versions of some of these songs, but it is such a short and sweet
45 minutes.
Yeah.
I dig it. Like I say, I just, I said, everyone has this one. Let me try this one.
Yeah.
And it's pretty undeniable. I guess that must be the thing that it appeals for a lot of different reasons. Like to me, it just sounds great.
Yeah.
And I like space. I'm not a note. If there's too many notes, I'm like the the King and Mozart. There's just too many notes, too many notes. So I don't know, maybe that might be why this is considered the greatest jazz album. Couple reasons, it's the best sounding, it's the most revolutionary, it's the best players, like you say, marquee players, all that.
It's like everyone, all the prime players in the prime of their career, doing something that is like new and fresh, that like is a Miles inspired idea. And Miles was always setting the trends in this time, too. So it's like,
gotcha.
You said, people come for Coltrane and Miles, and they stay for everything else, and they try to, see if they can get into this. It's like if you don't like the kind of blue album, then, you have to do some soul searching for jazz. It'd be tough to beat this.
I got you.
So with the number, the thing I found out too was it 2003? It's like the 500 greatest albums of all time, and on the Rolling Stone, they put this at number 12 out of 500.
Right.
Hugely,
and it's not even a rock and roll record.
Exactly. Just one of the most influential albums of all time.
Was Bill Evans a star at this time? Where was he?
Yeah, I think he's like forming, he's becoming a star. He's like on the rise because he played with Miles as well. And if you play with Miles, you will become a star, basically. That's a high chance. So I think he broke out more into his own trio after this, but he was like already experimenting with the modality and stuff, and he wrote with Miles, and he was like playing with other groups as well. But
what happened to the one blues dude that played on
Wynton Kelly? Yeah, he was more. I think he was an old head for that time, so he was called in just for the blues. He was always still successful, but I had an older jazz teacher in college, and he loved Wynton Kelly. I think just like the older blues style really appealed to the OGs of the jazz world. But Bill Evans again just caters to everyone in my age group. I feel like who's coming up on jazz for the first time.
Nice.
But he was like, I think Bill Evans was playing with someone else, and Miles Davis called him specifically for this album. He's like, I want you. And he also specifically picked Wynton Kelly just for the.
So that's part of Miles' thing too, is knowing how to put the team together.
Exactly, and his direction was legendary as well as like a leader. Even though he didn't give them much direction, it was enough to have them have an idea of how to compose these songs, and this is what they came up with off of just 2 dates.
Far out.
It's crazy,
and it still lives on.
Yeah, I hope. Hopefully everyone liked it. I think it's one of the best of all time.
Yeah. So Kinda Blue, Miles Davis, 1959.
Yes.
Columbia.
Yes.
The big studio.
Not Hawaiian music. That's the important thing.
No. Did Miles ever make a Hawaiian record?
Maybe he did. Maybe in the 80s, I bet he did.
Yeah, he probably did. But he didn't know he did. He
right.
probably did accidentally.
He probably invented Hawaiian music,
Dan Hollenbeck was here explaining Kind of Blue to me. And yes. I feel that I understand it better than before, which is kind of the point. I love doing the show. I'm glad we did this.
It's fun. Really fun.
But I found out what I wanted to find out, and that's all that matters.
Beautiful.
From you, so that's good.
If nothing else, the plants are well fed and watered at home. And
that's right.
Our demographic has been fulfilled.
I'm running the theme again because this happens sometimes. So Jon Peckman Podcast, Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, beautiful downtown Portland. Come over the bridge, pull a Yui, park in front of the music store with the red neon light. We have all kinds of things here for you. Dan Hollenbeck, guitar, piano. Don, the guitar teacher.
Hollenbeck, yeah.
Dan Hollenbeck, piano teacher, taught me all about Kind of Blue today, and thank you. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That is all. We'll see you next time.
Appreciate it.